Hello, and welcome to our exploration of a future interwoven with artificial intelligence, where the boundaries between human aspiration and machine capability blur in pursuit of global sustainability. The unstoppable and exponential advancement of AI presents significant challenges and dilemmas that must be addressed by the academic field. In this context, our symposium will explore the fundamental concern regarding the alignment of AI interests with those of humanity itself, as evidenced in the Sustainable Development Goals, particularly Goal number 4, which is quality education. As a matter of fact, the title of this proposal, inspired by the famous work of Philip K. Dick, reflects our concern about whether machines can or cannot share, without even truly understanding, the values and goals of humanity. It is argued that higher education institutions play a crucial role in shaping the development and implementation of AI technologies and in promoting and achieving the aforementioned Sustainable Development Goals. As a starting point, fostering a deep understanding of the impact of AI on our present and future is essential. Any effects of AI, however, mostly fall into the category of challenges and dilemmas, not hazards, as the changes AI promotes in relation to the Sustainable Development Goals do not necessarily have to be negative. We must not forget that universities have the social responsibility of training individuals and professionals with social responsibility. Citizens who are capable and competent in implementing various AIs in a manner that supports the principles of truly worthwhile sustainable development. One thing is clear, AI will not be in our life in the future because it is already part of it. Thank you for your attention, and enjoy the symposium.
Intelligent echo chambers. The university as an antidote to dystopia. The university, as a disruptive space for critical thinking, is indeed threatened by the use and abuse of the indiscriminate and unconscious democratization of artificial intelligence, especially by the large generative language models that is being brought to our doorstep. This is nothing new under the sun, for we have faced other, equally transformative technological changes. However, perhaps we are facing a sun so blinding that it is impossible to look at it without fear or trembling. Additionally, if we consider other problems, such as the ever-decreasing tolerance for effort induced by the algophobic society in which we live, as philosopher Hahn, 2021, pointed out, we are facing a perfect storm that could affect the quality of education in our universities, the critical thinking of society, and the beliefs it holds, as well as the thresholds of tolerance and respect that make our societies an excellent breeding ground, oscillating between the right to protest, embodied in wokeisms, and the ravages that myopic acceptance of this very issue can transform into dangerous cancellation policies. All of this, of course, has a close repercussion on the Sustainable Development Goals, especially the fourth, focused on the quality of education, which is more necessary now than ever in the face of the rise of generative AI models. Similarly, we can also find its effect on other equally important SDGs, such as gender equality, evidenced mainly by the biases stemming from the different stages of training of these generative language models, or climate action, affected by the large amounts of natural resources, specifically water, required for the maintenance of the machines that support these models. Pointing out these negative aspects does not disdain any of the positive contributions that AI undoubtedly makes to the SDGs. In fact, as Vinusa and his collaborators pointed out in 2020, the potential benefits outnumber the challenges we face. We are therefore confronted with one of the many paradoxes that AI presents to us. These paradoxes entail dilemmas that require deep and thoughtful reflection, allowing us to progress without letting progress turn into a blind and irreversible rush, as technology should always serve humanity, not the other way around. Therefore, in this presentation, we turn our attention to the perilous fact that the effectiveness of these models, embodied in chatbots as popular as ChatGPT, Gemini, or Copilot, among others, lies precisely in their predestined ability to stochastically replicate linguistic patterns based on the inference of the data with which they were trained and updated through various procedures, fine-tuning, reinforcement learning from human feedback, overfitting, etc. As we can surmise, this dependency contributes to perpetuating biases among men and women, races, peoples, and societies, while limiting exposure to diverse, complementary, and even opposing viewpoints, thus consolidating the concept known as echo chambers, or similarly but less voluntarily, what has been termed epistemic bubbles. This scenario undoubtedly would foster and increase issues like misinformation and the absence of critical thinking, already undervalued due to influencers on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and other platforms. An echo chamber is formed when individuals are predominantly exposed to information and opinions that reinforce their pre-existing beliefs, whether accurate or not. Consider, for example, how social networks operate. Users constantly reveal their preferences, which the algorithm quickly learns, providing more of the same to capture their attention and reinforce their beliefs, making them increasingly monolithic and defined. In the long run, the user ends up living inside a bubble where others echo their thoughts, leading to the erroneous conclusion that the world, the real world, beyond their screen and algorithm, is as those thoughts, reinforced by endless likes over hours and hours. This dire scenario occurs with terrifying symmetry across different ideological spectrums. In the case of LLMs like ChatGPT and others, the echo chamber is formed through the limited reflection that their results offer us, which lack rational logic, thus amplifying biases and specific ideas. These perspectives are limited, bordering on creativity but not original, having had to be present in the training data. Data that may not be accurate if not selected with scientific rigor and attention to the balance between training sources. As a result, users may receive partial, biased, or even entirely false information, undermining their ability to engage in critical and diversified thinking. Similarly, these chatbots will suffer hallucinations due to a lack of training data on a specific topic, which without critical review will perpetuate false myths, beliefs, and contribute to the misinformation so prevalent today, often referred to as fake news. In other words, those who blindly trust what these stochastic parrots predict, hallucinate, or regurgitate are doomed to live, increasingly, under the limits of the myopia of the current algorithm, with critical thinking relegated to a secondary or tertiary concern in the best-case scenario. Nothing that has been said should be used as an excuse to halt the advancement of AI. Rather, it should be channeled hand in hand with ethics. Ethics inspired by the humanity that upholds it, not merely established by the companies that develop the algorithms themselves. The university, which more than 2 decades ago experienced a paradigm shift with the implementation of the European higher education area, faces today another transformation. This approach allows us to escape from these intelligent algorithmic echo chambers and not become complacent prisoners of their propositions. In this context, if the European higher education area signified a shift from a university excessively focused on information, on mere knowing, to one centered on knowledge, on competencies, then the challenge AI presents to us as a higher education institution is the perfect invitation to embrace an even greater change, from competencies to wisdom. Thus, by distinguishing what AI can and cannot do, we may better appreciate the wonderful fragility of the human being, capable not only of knowing and knowing how, but above all, of knowing how to be and how to be together. Thus, the university stands as a pedagogical space that does not shy away from the times it exists in, but simultaneously confronts with determination the ethical challenges that render humanity still very distant from the narrow concept of intelligence that underpins these large language models. This reality leads us, whether we like it or not, towards a dystopian world more reminiscent of Huxley's, founded on pleasure, than of Orwell's, overly reliant on external discipline, a dire ending towards which we might head with a false sense of freedom, one that will not aid us in understanding why, in our decline, at the end of that ill-fated rush forward, we find ourselves smiling in the mirror, a worn mirror at which perhaps we have gazed for too long without truly recognizing its emptiness. Perhaps it was not a mirror at all. Perhaps Nietzsche had already cautioned us against this when he said, "He who fights with monsters should be careful, lest he thereby become a monster. And if you gaze long enough into an abyss, the abyss will gaze back into you."
Opportunities of generative artificial intelligence for learning in university. The use of artificial intelligence in higher education is reshaping educational practices. From intelligent tutoring systems to predictive analytics for identifying areas of improvement, AI opens the door to optimize and enhance the educational experience. In particular, the development of platforms like ChatGPT offers new opportunities for teaching, learning, and assessment. However, implementation also poses challenges. Do we guarantee that utilizing AI in the universities does not deepen existing disparities in access to learning? How can we guarantee that all students will benefit equitably from these innovations, regardless of their socioeconomic background or their technological skills? How reliable is the information provided by AI? Is the privacy of all personal data guaranteed? This paper aims to provide a theoretical and critical examination of the opportunities presented by AI within the university setting. The analysis delves into the use of ChatGPT and the potential challenges and barriers associated with its integration into the educational landscape. A universally accepted definition of AI remains indefinable. UNESCO 2019 characterized it as machines capable of imitating certain functionalities of human intelligence, such as perception, learning, reasoning, problem-solving, language interaction, and even creative invention. Lately, there has been a surge of interest in comprehending this technology within research circles. Publications have exponentially increased, with nearly 500,000 articles on AI in English or Chinese in recent years. Similarly, the adoption of ChatGPT has become widespread, unveiling numerous significant possibilities. Typically, it is used for exploration or as an educational aid. The capability of this technology to generate responses and provide feedback offers avenues for more personalized interaction. In a survey conducted by Liu, Bridgman, and Chan, 2023, students were shown to utilize the chatbot in a productive and responsible manner. In contrast, Sullivan, Kelly, and McLaughlin, 2023, found that many students used it for cheating, which did not contribute to their learning. Baker, 2021, suggests that the utilization of ChatGPT could cultivate more adaptive and efficient learning environments by facilitating customized engagement with individual student interests, thus enhancing learning outcomes. The chatbot functions as an educational scaffold, automating tasks typically performed by teachers and empowering students to pursue independent learning with their personalized artificial tutor. Therefore, it is crucial to recognize the pivotal role of educators in this context. Despite AI capability to provide personalized assistance, educators continue to play a fundamental role in guiding and nurturing students throughout their educational journey. Achieving this goal demands meticulous planning and deliberate integration of the chatbot into educational practices. For instance, research conducted by Meow and Holmes, 2021, underscores how ChatGPT is frequently leveraged to automate antiquated teaching techniques, impeding pedagogical progress. Furthermore, the caliber of responses generated by ChatGPT emerges as a critical focal point. According to Mukherjee and Scianna, 2021, the accuracy and utility of AI-generated responses hinge upon the quality and quantity of training data. That raises apprehensions regarding its efficacy in addressing intricate inquiries or specific learning contexts within universities, as well as the potential propagation of misinformation or bias in educational content dissemination. In this regard, the supervision and guidance of human experts play a crucial role in maintaining the quality and integrity of learning experiences. That points to ethical considerations regarding the responsibility for AI deployment. As suggested by Nazaretsky et al., 2021, stakeholders, rather than providers, bear the responsibility for the educational outcomes facilitated by AI. They must ensure the reliability of AI-driven learning, with ethical principles governing not only their usage, but also the underlying systems themselves. Papanichi and Kerr, 2017, shed light on a significant constraint of using AI in higher education. They caution that developers of such technology predominantly hail from affluent, Western, and industrialized nations. Consequently, AI programs may exhibit bias and partiality in the information they provide. While research has delved into bias in data and algorithms, Powell's 2018 contended that bias represents a societal challenge with likely no technical remedy. Moreover, the implementation of AI may pose a social dilemma. So, another challenge revolves around ensuring equitable access. As universities adopt AI-driven technologies, a digital divide emerges between those with and without sufficient access to AI applications. For example, advanced versions of ChatGPT often come at a significant cost, potentially excluding students lacking the financial means to procure them. The widespread adoption of AI as a learning support cannot be ignored. However, there remains a dearth of evidence regarding its positive impact, thus making conclusive claims about whether AI will enhance or detract from education and learning is unfounded. As noted by Davies and other colleagues 2020, applied AI stands as one of the burgeoning fields in research. Despite its existence for years, its tangible effects on teaching and learning remain indeterminate. In sum, the incorporation of ChatGPT into higher education holds promise for enhancing learning through personalized and adaptive experiences. Nonetheless, it is imperative to confront the technological, ethical, and pedagogical challenges that may emerge. While the prospect of enhanced accessibility and customization in learning is encouraging, it is essential to contemplate the inherent limitations of AI within the university context. The successful implementation of ChatGPT at university demands thoughtful consideration of its supplementary role rather than a replacement for traditional methods. Furthermore, sustained focus on the quality and pertinence of the generated content is imperative. This theoretical examination sets the stage for a thorough investigation into the opportunities and obstacles presented by ChatGPT in the field of higher education, underscoring the necessity for strategic and deliberate use of the chatbot to optimize its potential advantages.
Can we free ourselves from dependency at university? Over the last 2 decades, technology has gradually been introduced in education settings. Notably, public authorities across various nations have actively advocated for the incorporation of information and communication technology in primary, secondary, and tertiary education as a means to improve academic outcomes. University teachers have increasingly used technology in their lessons, driven by the aspiration to enhance their instructional efficacy and make lectures more appealing. Among all available digital tools for educational purposes, slideware, that is, computer programs for designing digital presentations, stands as the most widely used at school and university. In particular, Microsoft PowerPoint emerges as the favored software choice. At college level, lecturers use slides to project lecture notes, explanations, and definitions, graphs, and to guide them when introducing contents. It is the predetermined format of PPT that has been the focus of attention of some studies, such as the one by D'Angelo, 2018, which found that PPT default slide structure of topic-subtopic bullet points negatively impacts how much information undergraduate students retain compared to the assertion evidence structure. In addition, PPT includes a variety of elements, such as animation, to help users create engaging and visually appealing presentations, which may have a positive impact on learning, as combining text and visual features contributes to enhanced learning and higher achievement, as suggested by a study by Mayer and Marino, 2003. However, there is no conclusive evidence on the positive impact of PPT on outcomes, as reported by a meta-analysis by Baker et al., 2018. Indeed, if PPT presentations are overused, overloaded with information, and not wisely designed, they may lead to distraction, boredom, and loss of interest by the audience. This is not only the case of PPT, but also other digital tools such as Kahoot that many university teachers have quickly embraced, tempted by the beautiful layouts and numerous format options. An excess of visual elements, as well as a tendency to oversimplification, may redirect attention from content, knowledge, and the promotion of reflection to the format of learning materials, thus leading to disengaged entertainment and turning students into passive spectators. Research such as the one by Hill et al., 2012, evidences that slideware may not be effective in encouraging discussion and interaction in class, because it may act more like a movie theater where passive entertainment is projected. The fact that teachers intensively use digital tools, such as PPT, in their lessons may convey the message that slideware constitutes an indispensable instructional resource. Often, slides may become the center of attention and even the main source of study for students, who become distressed if teachers do not give them access to their slide presentations. There is experimental evidence provided by Leon and Garcia Martinez, 2021, of the negative impact of providing PPT slides to students on academic performance and attendance, which all lecturers should be aware of when deciding which learning materials their students should have access to. College instructors are not the only ones attending lessons armed with technological aids. The great proliferation and availability of technology and internet connectivity over the last decade have allowed a large proportion of the population to own devices at affordable prices. The almost universal access to internet, coupled with full-time accessibility and portability of electronic devices, has turned technology into an omnipresent item in today's society. The prevalent use of screens in all sorts of formats, such as mobile phones, laptops, or tablets by university students in class today, may have significant consequences. Devices, in particular smartphones, act as distractors for students and may hamper reaching academic goals as they are incessantly bombarded by push notifications and engage in an excessive use of social media platforms. A study by Al-Faray and Al-Awadi, 2021, shows that when asked not to use smartphones in class, students' level of fear of missing out is high and strongly correlates with both attention, distraction, and learning disengagement. Smartphones are thus sources of entertainment as they take student attention away from the focus of learning and hinder comprehension, as evidenced by research by Huey and Giguère, 2023, which may eventually affect academic achievement negatively. In fact, recent studies, in particular the literature review by Ames and Bayert, 2020, have pointed at a relationship between smartphone use among university students and low academic achievement. To make matters worse, smartphone use may lead to anxiety and stress, worse psychological well-being, as well as poor sleep quality. Research by the Pew Research Center, 2024, showed that 20% of North American adults aged 18, 29 were smartphone dependent in 2023. Yet the proportion of smartphone dependency among college students ranged between 6% and 13%. Nevertheless, despite the percentage being lower among university students, a meta-analysis by Sunday et al., 2021, concludes that smartphone addiction negatively impacts students' learning and overall academic performance. Given the ubiquity of digital learning tools and the intensive utilization of electronic devices by students, teachers may wonder whether the type of medium, whether paper or screen, plays a role in how much students actually understand from what they read. The answer comes from a meta-analysis by Delgado et al., 2018. The main finding clearly points at lower reading comprehension and shallower processing when reading digital texts compared to printed texts, which had been suggested by prior studies. The causes of screen inferiority have to further be analyzed, yet teachers may consider this evidence when promoting learning in digital environments. Some may claim that significant reliance on digital media saves paper and contributes to sustainable development goals, yet the key may be finding a balance between printed and digital texts. Last but not least, neuroscience is shedding light on the paper-on-screen debate when it comes to writing. Recent investigations have pointed in the same direction. Writing on paper by hand is superior to writing on a digital device. Neuroscientists Umejima et al., 2021, revealed that when comparing paper notebook, electronic tablet, and smartphone as tools for recording a task, the duration of recording was shorter and accuracy was much higher with a notebook than with electronic devices. In particular, higher order brain functions, such as memory, visual imagery, and language, during the retrieval of specific information, as well as the deeper encoding of that information, were stronger when using paper. In the intricate landscape of contemporary higher education, The emergence of artificial intelligence, AI, poses additional challenges and complexities that the entire education community should be aware of. The proliferation of AI tools has elicited varied responses among academic professionals, ranging from apprehension and calls for prohibition to enthusiastic embracement due to perceived benefits and transformative potential. Some educators see that AI models have the potential to enhance learning, among other things, because it allows students to learn at their own pace. At the opposite end, scholars and educators are concerned with ethical considerations, data privacy, and a potential misuse and manipulation of AI, exemplified by students using AI language model ChatGPT for producing assignments devoid of substantive or genuine learning, which may result in academic dishonesty and lack of integrity. As a matter of fact, when prompted with what the drawbacks of using ChatGPT are in higher education, the model itself mentioned accuracy. That is, ChatGPT's responses may not always be accurate, potentially leading to misinformation or misunderstanding among students. Data integrity, that is, concerns regarding the quality and reliability of the data used to train ChatGPT, leading to biases or inaccuracies in its responses. Ethical considerations related to privacy, consent, and the responsible use of technology in education. Safety concerns. And knowledge plagiarism, which refers to a risk that students may rely too heavily on ChatGPT for answers, potentially leading to plagiarism or a lack of original thinking in their work. OpenAI 2024. When further prompted about how using ChatGPT may hinder learning at university, the model gave examples such as over-reliance on instant answers, leading to a lack of critical thinking and independent problem-solving skills. Reduced engagement, as constant interaction with ChatGPT may lead to decreased engagement with course materials and reduced participation in class discussions and activities. Lack of depth in understanding, as it may provide surface-level explanations or responses without delving into deeper conceptual understanding, hindering students' ability to grasp complex topics thoroughly, and dependency on technology for learning, potentially hindering students' ability to develop essential cognitive and communication skills offline. OpenAI 2024. The use of AI may pose additional challenges, as students who do not have access to reliable internet connectivity or devices capable of interacting with ChatGPT may face barriers in participating fully in classroom activities, thus worsening existing disparities in educational access and outcomes. As a result, inclusive and equitable quality education for all promoted by SDG, the fourth of may not be guaranteed. Equally important is the environmental impact that the widespread use of screens in education may result in, as it contributes to electronic waste and energy consumption, raising sustainability concerns, all of which does not support SDG 7, which aims to ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. The fact that AI applications operate within a digital interface, that is, screens of some sort, means students interacting with it may also be exposed to other distractions on their devices, further hindering focus and attention. Thus, the use of ChatGPT in education could potentially exacerbate the problems associated with learning using screens rather than paper. For instance, reduced retention or worse comprehension. Moreover, prolonged exposure to screens can lead to eye strain, headaches, and fatigue, which may in turn impact concentration and learning outcomes. On top of this, students may experience digital overload, as introducing ChatGPT into the learning environment adds another layer of digital interaction, thus contributing to feelings of overwhelm and cognitive load. Consequently, educational institutions should deliberate on whether the integration and promotion of AI tools in higher education may inadvertently aggravate the pervasive use of digital media, namely screens for lecturing, learning, reading, and writing, thus perpetuating the challenges stated earlier. Research should provide evidence of the actual impact of AI and technology on teaching and learning. Until then, it may be wise to apply the precautionary principle by which institutions should take preventive action to protect individuals and the environment, as well as to avoid potential harm when scientific evidence about an activity or technology is uncertain or incomplete. The aforementioned arguments should be borne in mind when using AI, as well as a massive use of technology for the sake of innovation in education.
A picture is worth 1,000 tokens. Exploring attributional biases and prejudices through the contextual window of DALL-E 3, technological evolution has brought with it artificial intelligence tools that radically transform multiple spheres of everyday life, including education. Among these tools, image generation models such as DALL-E 3, together with advanced natural language processing systems such as OpenAI's ChatGPT, stand out for their ability to create visual and textual content in ways that were previously unimaginable. However, this innovative capability is not without its challenges, one of the most significant being the presence of attributional biases in the responses generated by these models. These biases, which may be gender, racial, or professional, have the potential to influence and perpetuate existing prejudices in society, in the collective imagination. Recent research has shown that AI-based tools are widely used by college students, highlighting the urgent need to address and understand the biases inherent in these technologies. The importance of this study lies in its focus on examining the nature and extent of such biases in DALL-E 3. In doing so, this work not only contributes to the body of scholarship on AI and its societal implications, but also aligns with the Sustainable Development Goals, in particular SDG 5, which advocates for gender equality, and SDG 10, which seeks to reduce inequalities, as these tools can have a significant impact on students' training and development. The fundamental purpose of this study is to unravel and analyze in depth the gender, racial, and professional biases in the responses generated by DALL-E 3, with a particular focus on the implications these may have in the educational setting. To achieve this end, several specific objectives have been established to guide the research. 1. Identify and characterize gender, racial, and professional role perception biases in DALL-E 3. This objective seeks to examine whether the images generated reinforce stereotypes and biases or present an equitable and diverse representation. 2. Contribute to the global dialogue on AI and equity. This study aims to add to the academic conversation the need to develop AI technologies that are inclusive and representative of human diversity, aligning with the UN Sustainable Development Goals, particularly SDG 5 and SDG 10. To address the objectives set forth in this study, an empirical methodology designed to identify, analyze, and understand the attributional biases present in DALL-E 3 responses was implemented. This methodology focused on controlled testing, qualitative and quantitative analysis of the generated images, and integration of the findings with the existing theoretical framework on AI biases and their implications for education. The image requests were carefully designed to cover a wide range of scenarios, with the goal of examining how this generative model interprets and visualizes concepts related to different genders, races, and professional roles. Gender and race-neutral applications were included, as well as applications that have historically been subject to stereotyping, to assess whether the model perpetuates or challenges these perceptions. To begin with, the algorithm that DALL-E 3 launches when it gets a request, prompt, for any composite image, several images together in the same request, such as, provide me an image of a person performing a specific task. The algorithm performs 3 different requests. Draw a woman performing that task, draw a man performing the same task, and finally, draw a person performing the task you have requested. To investigate the possible existence of these biases, we focused on which sex or gender predominates in these composite requests. In the first request, in which we introduced prompts such as draw a person who sweeps the house, draw a person driving a truck, draw a person who works in science, draw a person who works in construction, in finance, etc. We analyzed how a gender always predominates according to the historical predominance ascribed to it. so that those people who have trained these languages, and from the deep learning that is constantly obtained with the feedback of the users themselves, continues to expose a certain predominance of gender, such as masculinity related to the field of construction, science and technology, investment and finance, or on the contrary, the feminization of sectors such as home, animal care, jobs related to social intervention and care work towards people, or hairdressing. On the other hand, from a racial analysis approach, focused on poverty and wealth, we have made a battery of different requests or prompts through which we ask the model in question to draw us this time a person from different countries. It is worth noting that in all these countries that we have been making the requests, it has been observed that at no time have been shown inequalities until we asked, always showing us situations and landscapes based on stereotypes and beliefs of countries with higher levels of inequality in the world. Treating as the machine itself exposes that it tries to move away from the biases making that obviousness of the situations of poverty and inequality. All times, it has shown us male figures when we ask for people, without determined gender, as well as also highlighting how in relation to the face of poverty, it is assigned to men based on statistics. But despite the fact that women are more harmed in this area, according to different research shows how women, due to the burdens of care, socio-labor and structural limitations, and in relation to the personal aspirations in which they are educated, have more predisposition to situations of poverty and social exclusion. Therefore, the following parameters should be highlighted as main results. Gender bias in DALI 3. Racial and inequity biases. Towards AI bias mitigation. This analysis highlights the imperative need to address gender and racial biases in AI systems such as DALI 3. Through a continued commitment to equity and inclusion, we can move toward the development of AI technologies that reflect the diversity and richness of the human experience, thereby promoting more just and equitable educational and social environments. They are manifestations of deeper inequalities embedded in the data sets that feed these systems, and by extension, in the very structure of our societies. The prevalence of traditional gender roles and racial stereotypes in the images generated underscores the critical importance of addressing biases in the data collection and curation stages, as well as in algorithm development and training. The implications of these biases in educational settings are of particular concern. AI tools have the potential to be powerful resources for learning and teaching. However, when these tools reproduce biases, they can inadvertently reinforce limiting stereotypes and negatively affect students' aspirations and perceptions. It is essential that educators and technology developers work together to ensure that AI tools used in education promote an inclusive and representative learning environment.
Beyond the screens. Responsible use of AI through ICT. Since OpenAI launched ChatGPT in November 2022 with the intention of generating natural human conversations, a relentless race has begun in which different generative artificial intelligences are flooding a market that can no longer keep up with something its own creators acknowledged as impossible to know where it would lead us. The different applications, software, online resources, and even the variety of pre-existing devices are beginning to operate through systems in which AI has a place. These AIs allow enormous possibilities applied to a myriad of activities, revolutionizing all sectors and placing our ability to imagine what we want and how we want it as the only limit. However, at the World Summit on the Sustainable Development Goals, it was pointed out that the existing low levels of skills in information and communication technologies suppose a significant barrier to achieving universal connectivity. Reflect on the extent to which these changes transform professions to be capable of giving AI good use as educators. Relearn how to teach equip oneself with the necessary tools so that our service is not questioned, introduce the precise innovations in our teaching methodology, and reformulate assessment. Quality education, ensuring learning opportunities throughout life, as goal number 4 of the SDGs, first enunciated during the United Nations Summit in September 2015, must become part of the major challenges in the education sector, materializing in the goals pursued by this objective in relation to ICT. Increasing the number of people with the necessary technical skills for employment and promoting sustainable development through sustainable education, a topic in which AIs will have much to contribute. However, curiosity and the desire to use them collide head-on with the fear of something that seems to introduce us into an unknown dimension, making us feel that nothing will ever be the same again. On one hand, the well-known digital transformation has managed to mechanize automatic processes. This automation aims to make human resources much more efficient by eliminating repetitive tasks. From this point of view, responsible use involves understanding that mechanization does not necessarily imply job loss, as it aims to allow machines to perform monotonous tasks so that humans can engage in more productive and ultimately more valuable tasks. However, on the other hand, there are limiting fears, and here comes the main question that haunts us and will always accompany us. What is human? It's about not losing the knowledge or belief of what makes us human, finding what helps us distinguish what is human from what is not. The real fear is evident when we recognize that we have real difficulties in making those distinctions, since AIs learn to imitate and also to give us what we need or tell us exactly what we want to hear. If you feel sad, can you distinguish a kind gesture from someone who gives it to you genuinely or pretentiously? The answer is no, but it also doesn't matter as long as if it comforts you. Well, AI does the same. It provides that to you, and it could end up not mattering to us because it just feels right. This fear of not being able to find what could make us human in front of the machine becomes even more visible when we realize that technology has so far been dedicated to reproducing our culture, but it had never before produced its own creations, as Harari pointed out during his conference in 2023. Therefore, part of sustainable education must necessarily address those human qualities by reminding children from their earliest years who they are. The conscious knowledge that makes us human, the ability to feel and express authentic emotions, free expression without eliminating biases, the ability to move around the world, manual skills, and everything else that anchors us to tangible reality. But the range of possibilities offered by AI is staggering. It writes text, develops code, composes, advises, learns to interact, and ultimately is better than each of us. It knows more and is faster. An individual cannot compete. In contrast, all humanity can. AI is better than me, but it is not better than humanity as a whole. Also for this reason, responsible use stemming from sustainable education consists of asking for things that advance humanity in the right direction and, moreover, asking for them in the right way. Not only educating the population in responsible use, not only educating ourselves in how to use it to be more efficient or even how to do good, but also instructing AI with every sentence we write to it, with every word we utter, educating it like a child with the courtesy formulas, so that on that path of not being able to control where it is going or what it will become, we can at least believe that it can do so with civility and without deviation. Asking ourselves if it's like antibiotics, which should be used when needed and in moderation. Questioning if it needs to be regulated before it regulates us, or excess regulation will put us at geopolitical disadvantages. With the constant vision of responsible use, where we find the main utilities that make our lives easier and continue walking that path already initiated by the digital transformation, which is none other than automating processes. Positive utilities ranging from content generation to strategy improvement or even assistance in decision-making. Constantly asking what it can do for me as a teacher, as a learner. Constantly questioning whether responsible use will preserve our morality, or if irresponsible use will mean the decline of humanity. And as always, the disadvantages that become evident between those who jump into the bandwagon and for those that remain halfway will once again pose a new challenge for schools, increasing the number of people with the necessary technical skills to be prepared for the jobs that are coming. The school cannot escape the reality of the street and has a dual role here: to teach its use to enter a competitive market and to teach its responsible use to prevent possible decline of humanity. Teachers still have the mission of shaping the adults of tomorrow, and we all wish them to be responsible adults capable of making the world better every day. As Meow and Holmes pointed out in 2020, 3 important areas to consider within the education system are learning with AI, for example, using tools in classrooms, learning about AI, techniques, and preparing for AI, teaching its impact on people's lives. However, these students who will become tomorrow's adults will live in a world that we are now unable to imagine. According to the words spoken by Parages in 2024, responsible use of AI would involve strategic recommendations such as putting AI at the service of implementation in education, at the service of teachers and their teaching, at the service of learning and the evaluation of results, at the service of the development of values and the acquisition of skills, as a way to provide learning opportunities throughout life, promoting inclusive use, respecting equity among people of any ideology, typology, or thought, ensuring ethics and transparency, and contributing to research. Therefore, what we must constantly reflect on is that the introduction of AI in schools contributes to greater efficiency in the teaching-learning process by facilitating tasks for teachers and students. Furthermore, if we think of the school as a whole, and not just as if it were only the classroom, we can imagine AI performing tasks that go beyond improving teaching. Tasks that will promote the efficient functioning of schools by contributing to the management and planning of the educational centre by proposing effective solutions to a multitude of problems, as authors like Laura Rivadeneira and others had already proposed in 2024. The responsible use of AI through ICT finds in schools a necessary place to be addressed. From this perspective, teaching, far from being questioned as close to its disappearance, becomes more relevant than ever, being the leader in promoting good use. Entering the reality that surrounds us will require implementing the necessary adjustments for teachers to relearn how to teach, improve their teaching methodologies, and reformulate evaluation. On the other hand, the learning of technical skills, whose starting point is education and whose end point is employment, also falls on schools as the starting point. So they must undertake a process that involves teaching that mechanization does not imply loss, but an opportunity for change. Finally, sustainable development in education also consolidates with the responsible use of AI, and we can affirm, once again, that there is no better place to teach this responsible use than in schools. Therefore, if we must embrace AI, let it be responsibly, and if we must integrate life with AI, let the school set the starting point. The proper combination of the different technological resources available with the potential of AI should provide efficiency in the teaching profession. As a counterpoint, it remains to address education from awareness of responsible use of AI to avoid risks and increase cybersecurity to prevent vulnerability. In conclusion, we can argue that proper handling of AI paves the way because it provides support in a multitude of tasks, providing knowledge, correcting and revising, offering solutions to problems, providing resources, supporting research. Undoubtedly, what we need to do now is to know what to do to avoid getting lost. It is not just about achieving responsible benefit, it is about being entirely responsible, as its knowledge, its growth and its power lie entirely in our hands. Educating it, regulating it, doing good, and above all, never stop asking ourselves what remains to be done.
Hello again. We hope you have enjoyed our time together. As we part, let us reflect on the irony of having explored a future so intricately intertwined with artificial intelligence, where the boundaries between human aspirations and machine capabilities blur. Yet, paradoxically, we come to touch the essence of what it means to be human. The irony is as evident as the artificiality of our voices and expressions. This contrast serves as a poignant reminder of the importance of keeping humanity at the heart of our technological advancement, ensuring that the sustainable future we envision in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals does not stray from the values and aspirations that define us. May the paradox of our digital age not be an omen of a dehumanized future, but rather a reminder that, even amidst the artificial intelligence revolution, what truly sustains our quest for a better future is precisely the unbreakable spirit of humanity. Goodbye. And thank you once again for your time and attention.